And we're live. Another Wednesday, another live stream. Here we are. Usually, the first thing I say here is if you're rewatching this, feel free to skip ahead 2 to 5 minutes while we work through all the technical details and things like that. And everyone joining, like Angel, thank you for joining. Let's see, we'll get things set up here. Hope everyone had a good week. And we'll get Unhappily Ever Now in here. Hey. Steven, thank you for joining. Chaos Guitars, thank you for joining. We have a gig. Let's see, when is that? That is August 12th, Saturday, Carnival of Chaos 3.
Oh, there we go.
So make sure to come out and check that out. Steve and Maria, how are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. I'm just, oh, okay. Goes to Fu Kang Walker. JP, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. Just give me a second. We'll get set up here. I'll read a little spiel off the top and then we can get into this. So anyway, yeah, Chaos, Carnival Chaos 3, we're going to be playing with a lot of other great bands. Brutality is headlining. That's in Fogelsville, PA, so definitely come check that out. And we'll get Dave on a live stream too, I'm hoping. I've got to ask him yet, but we'll talk guitars. I bought a new guitar. Go check that out on YouTube. We did an unboxing for it and it was awesome. I'm sure we'll talk guitars a little bit too. And yeah, all right. Cool. JP, I saw you were wearing your own band shirt. I want to talk about that a little bit more too. I say more power to you, brother. All right. Here we go. Hello and welcome to the Bellwether Ritual live stream where we discuss music, the local Lehigh Valley, PA scene, bands, social media, and more. Today is Wednesday, May 31st. My name is Mike and I'm the vocalist / guitarist of Bellwether Ritual. Hope you had a good week. Our next show is the aforementioned Carnival of Chaos 3 on August 12th. So please come check that out. We are releasing a new single soon, which is exciting. We have a Spotify playlist, which our next guests are also on. And yeah, all the aforementioned YouTube videos we've been putting out lately, including past live streams. So please go check that out. Our guests tonight also have a new single coming out called Pleading, parentheses, The Haunting of Scars. I'm always a sucker for a song title with parentheses in it. Tonight we have Steven and Maria of Unhappily Ever Now. They are a hard rock band with progressive and industrial tendencies based out of Phoenixville, PA. Their influences include Stabbing Westward, Tool, Perfect Circle, Rammstein, and Seven Dust. And we'll talk about all that and more. All bands that check my boxes. Steven and Maria, welcome to the stream. How are you?
Doing well.
All right, how you doing?
Awesome. Yeah, it's a little bit of a slog up front there, but now we're done. Yeah, is there anything off the top that you want to plug? I know you have the new single out. Anything you want to say about that or anything else you want to plug?
I'm going to jump into all the stuff we know of at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, cool. The single actually came out on May 5th, so we've been just kind of heavily pushing it as much as possible since then, and just a lot of stuff overlapping. We're trying to get things picked up, trying to do interviews or live streams or just get it picked up in any way we can get it. And in the meantime, wow, I know we're also have a couple of remixes in the works coming out in July and September. So we're starting to push the PR for the first one, which is it's Pleading, but it's a remix done by JP Anderson of Rabbit Junk. So it's slightly different sound for us, but it's he kind of called it like a goth wave. It has like an 80s throwback kind of vibe to it. So that's the next one coming up. We're prepping for that right now. The big one for me, especially just because of my influences, is Walter Flackus of Stabbing Westward did like a Stabbing Westward kind of rough remix rendition. That's the September one. That's more of like the classical sound for them, like an industrial rock kind of vibe. Kind of matched really well with my guitar work. So that's like just release-wise what's going on. We're just really pushing through several months worth of this. to get everything good, try to get some exposure and support for the 3 versions of the song, basically. And I guess also there's some things in process. Actually, just got, and it's not even like officially announced yet. So
are we gonna break some news
we're
here?
supposed to be having a show at Dingbats in New Jersey with
Nice.
solo band Cyborg Amok, who we actually played with previously last year. It's not officially tightened up and locked in and announced yet, but it's supposed to be a go. So not to jump the gun there, but anyone in the region, if they want to look forward to that show, that should be coming up July 14th.
Yes.
I believe.
It's a Friday night, actually, so that's pretty sweet.
Awesome. Very much so, yeah.
Right?
And I think, I don't know, any other thing, like, off the top of my head to plug is, like, we were slowly getting picked up with different interviews and reviews. So I know Darker Side of Music just did an interview with us. It should be up in the next couple days. Michael Nagy with Discovering Bands just did one recently as well. That's already up. And a couple of random stations or shows picked us up. We actually are going to be included. So everyone watch this. Please continue watching this. But in about 2 hours, we actually just found out we got picked up for tonight's Lucky 13 with Harley Rocks on Rock Rage Radio. The number 12 slot, it looks like. So at 10 o'clock tonight Eastern, everyone watch this, and then 10 o'clock go watch and hear us on that. Hear us on that as well.
Double duty tonight.
I think it's the big stuff.
Yeah.
No, you forgot a big thing.
I forgot a big thing?
A big thing.
I'm tired today.
Probably because I'm like the visual person, I think, a little bit more sometimes with the music. But we had a video that also was out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The release of the single. Our first music video, first official. We worked with Joel from Lumbar Productions, flew his butt in from Chicago. Spent like a kind of weekend with him and ran around New Jersey at Haunted Hill. What? No, I'm saying it wrong.
White Hill Mansion.
White Hill Mansion. I was going to say the House of Haunted Hill. White Hill Mansion.
Yeah, it feels better.
And then over back in PA, because you can't be a PA band without doing a video in the woods, right?
That's right.
So we're over in Abington Sculpture Park for some of the wood scenes.
Okay.
But
Yeah, in the Art Center,
yeah, so our first official video with that, and I think that's definitely kind of helps. I think people kind of understand us a little bit more, and we're planning on incorporating more visuals. I think a music video with at least the Rabbit Junk remix and something cool with Stabbing Westward remix too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
you're already checking off a whole bunch of my questions here, so that's awesome.
Okay.
Just want to quickly
It's been busy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep Pockets, thank you for joining. Jordan was on with Geode last week, so thank you so much. JP of the Ghost of Fukang Walker says, Steel City Coffee still rocking. Love Phoenixville. Is that still going?
It is. They're a little bit, I think we can't do plugged in probably there, but we are thinking of maybe doing some acoustic stuff, like a combination of our own music and maybe some covers, and I think that would kind of be more welcoming at a place like that. But yeah, they're going strong.
Very cool.
Place is packed, usually.
Angel says Carnival of Chaos is in Schnecksville. My felt, not Fogelsville, Schnecksville, so make sure you go check that out. And Beautifully Broken Goddess is here. Angela, thank you for joining and saying hey. She was on with JP a few weeks ago, and she's got a gig coming up. Where's your gig coming up, Angela? Post that in the comments and we'll read it off. All right, cool. I have a whole bunch of questions for you, but just real quick on the video topic. Talk to me a little bit about the visual side. This is a conversation we have a lot as a band. We're still trying to figure out the visual side of things and how we want to present all that kind of stuff. So yeah, is it something is it a process you enjoy doing, or you feel like it's just one of those necessary evils?
I like it, like the video stuff. I like it a lot, but I kind of was doing it for my day job in a not fun way.
Oh, cool.
Let's just say tech software kind of stuff, not sexy and that exciting, but just got immersed in that process though a lot, and the creative aspect of it, and it's just so much cooler than it's music though, right? And it kind of gets us to tell the story in a more visual way, and I mean, I think it's awesome. I think when you're doing on location, some people might do videos where it's just graphics or clips or not actually at a location kind of thing, like live action. It's just difficult to find the spot to do that. That'll allow you to actually do a music video. So That part was probably the most challenging. You know, we were kind of contacting a bunch of places, but then you found White Hill Mansion in New Jersey, and they were awesome.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, up until this point, like I did a lyric video and I did a static video for the other two singles from like the EP. But this time it was like, I don't know, I really felt strongly about the song, and honestly, it took forever to get it done. So we really want to just have full impact with this. And Joel had actually helped us from Lumber Productions with first live show. We recorded like the raw audio video for us, just kind of commemorate it. We actually wound up releasing this stuff. It's not the best, that wasn't the best quality because we were just like, I just record it. But then we are like, hey, we want to, like, can we do a video? Like, would you be able to come back? I don't know how that went out, how that played out, but yeah. So we're like, wow, we got like a 4K video, look really great. And yes, I mean, we kind of lots of scrambling to figure it out, but it was kind of I don't know, maybe the right timing and stuff like that because for me personally, I knew of the place because I'd been there before. Number one, for a different event, like a Krampus event or something, like 5 years ago or something. And then Life of Agony, which is a band I listened to, actually recorded one of their videos for their album, the Sound of Scars, in the same location. So I knew it would be okay to do a music video there. And it was just maybe the right combination of like, it's like the title of that album that they had, and it kind of meshes with the song, and then like it's supposed to be like haunted mansion, and it's like pleading and haunting and scars, and it's like it kind of just fits. I think it's supposed to happen, and that's just kind of how it went, because I was like, I know they'll do it. We just have to reach out to them and coordinate it. And I knew they were telling us like, oh, Life of Agony was there for like 17 hours, and I was like, well, we only need like 3 or something, like 3 to 5, I think. Yeah. But that was pretty much that. And you had dug deep to find like the Abington Art Center because you knew about it, but it's like really kind of difficult apparently. So I went with what I knew and suggested it, and it just kind of fit the vibe. And honestly, that's just what that place looks like, and it fit the vibe. And then Joel is really great at what he does, and we'd seen his work with like Ayatoya. We actually opened for her, and the Joy Thieves, which is another band I listen to, and the guys who are like the production team for us, the Joy Thieves Productions, they're part of that band. So it's kind of lots of finding stuff or finding people or getting ideas by association, and just kind of working with everyone the past few years. So I think it all just kind of collectively built to that moment, and being able to do that, and knew Joel's work through that stuff, and then kind of went that way. I know the Rabbit Junk remix video is mostly the same footage. We did some right here in this room, actually. So we'll see how that goes, because it was interesting. And yeah, I don't know. The other one, I don't know if we have a specific concept yet. But I mean, the process, like you were asking about it, I'd never done it before. I think it was pretty fun. I was just kind of trying to enjoy it. And I don't know how to describe it, but just at least we had a good team to work with this whole process. And I had an idea for the location at work. You had one that worked, and that day was kind of freezing cold, but we made it work.
But it made it work with all the leaves blowing, which I guess we didn't have too much of that in the first video. There'll be more like the woods scenes and the Rabbit Junk.
So are you like visually, are you writing a script or trying to like set up shots, or how much like of an idea do you start with, or do you just kind of let them run with, like, get them in the right direction and let them run?
I know for me personally, with the single, I just honestly let Joel do his thing. I didn't really want to. We had some like insights into like the draft material.
Right.
But it was mostly like, hey, what about? I mean, while we were there, it was like, well, I don't know, maybe we should do something in this spot. And a little bit of that, but I feel like he mostly just kind of was like, oh, this would be really cool, especially if I do the light this way at the shadowing.
Yeah.
So I just let him do his thing.
We had a storyboard.
Yeah.
A couple different versions for different locations too. So that kind of made a difference too, because originally we had some other ideas of where we could do it and kind of got shot down, unfortunately. So, but I mean, I think this is more organic and it worked, and he's really excellent to work with. And just even going through the storyboarding and him listening to the song probably a million times, I guess, at some point. And then just kind of, we would maybe show other videos, or he'd show us other music videos, or for aesthetic, just kind of get like, colorations and filters and just kind of the vibe that way to kind of see what we were going for. So I think that's important.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the new single? Just, I know it sounds like it's pretty like personal, or I don't know. Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I'm not really sure where to start with that question. For one thing, it took forever, and that was really no one's fault per se. We had I finally gotten. The project started with me, and then Maria joined it, and then we got through the EP, and then like we got to do these remixes, and then like the first set of remixes for the EP, and then honestly, right when those were coming back to me, I kind of wrote 95% of the song. So that's like way back in November 2021. And then honestly from there it was like, hey, let's start working on this, because we kind of got to hear what remixes sound like, the potential we could have working together, and kind of started there. But then honestly, like life happened, and then we both got COVID, and then I kind of had a bad time with it, and kind of just lost most of last year to an extent. And as far as the process, it just, we had our first live show last year, and we got forced to practice for it, and it helped a lot, so we could wrap up like some of the vocals, and then it like there was always these constant setbacks from the process, and then I don't know, it just kind of all came together pretty quick though, like this January, to be like, all right, it's done, okay. Hey, can you remix it? And it's just kind of pushing it fast, and it thankfully has worked out. It was complicated. I kind of had to take the lead on doing a lot of artwork kind of stuff though, because I just had a hell of a time with artists this time around. It was just everyone was booked out in advance, or was just unfortunately out of our personal budget, which is a shame, because it's like, yeah, it's really, I really love to have had certain people. I won't name any names because it's nothing against them. It was just the timing didn't work, or just too much out of our budget, or just they were booked out. And ironically, maybe we could have had them if I just waited a little bit. I wanted to be like ahead of the game a little bit, knowing all the delays we already had. And as far as the song itself, I don't know. That's a tougher one. I mean, I guess quick answer would be, yeah, we're writing from experience. I think that's life experience of some stuff we both went through in our own ways.
Yeah.
I think I predominantly started the song, so I came in with a lot of things. Maria predominantly, you essentially wrote the chorus and split the bridge with me. The verses and stuff, that was me, and like some of the bridge with me. So it's just kind of, I don't know. It's kind of a continuation of the themes and stuff that I kind of touch on deliberately with the project. And yeah, I've had a lot of life stuff going on the past 3 to 5, 6 years, and I don't know. I think maybe for me personally, it was just kind of like reflecting on that, I guess. Just like, wow, hey, look, I've made it. I've made it. I got this far, but it's like, man, I went through a lot of stuff to get here. And it's just like it's kind of that in a nutshell for me.
At least it's
without getting into.
Yeah, at least it's a healthy way to channel all that. Yeah.
It's therapy, right?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, a lot of like personal therapy in this project in ways for us. But yeah, it was definitely just so much going on, and it kind of, that sense of like, all right, well, we've made it. We've made it. Okay, have we gotten anything out of this? It's just kind of one of those moments where you're like, did I get anything out of all this hard work? And that's kind of like, there's a lot of universal message behind it. I mean, we know what it means to us on like our personal level, but it's kind of pretty universal, I think, however you want to apply that. Like, I could probably think back and like, my job was like that at some point. It's like, hey, or working on this project, like this project at home was like that. Like, yeah, every time you fix something, something else has to get, it could be anything. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It could be personal relationships. It could be what you're doing with the work. It could be anything. So I think that's one of the things I like about kind of how we're writing, I guess. It's a deliberately touching on those kind of themes and concepts that we all kind of go through or experiences we go through.
Just want to shout out Silvio Chutes. I'm sorry, I just apologize every week because I butcher everyone's handles. So if you know them, call them out. If you have questions for Stephen or Maria, make sure to drop them in the comments below too, and we'll get to them. Let's see. You hit on a lot there. I want to just take it back to the beginning though, because we'll get back to the songwriting because I definitely have a lot of questions there. But are you both from the area? Did you grow up here? Did you move in?
Want me to answer mine's fast?
Yours is fast.
I mean, I grew up in Delaware County. I was briefly out of state for music school for just a short period of time, like 20 years ago, and then back to Delaware County, and now I'm in Chester County. That's pretty much it. So, whole life within 25-mile radius, with the exception of being out of state briefly for college, just briefly, and then came back. Yours. I'll let her go.
Yes.
Hers is more interesting.
I was born in Queens, New York. My parents transplanted us into the Poconos, like many unfortunate children had happened to them. Spent most of my formative years up there into high school and stuff. Ran back to New York as fast as I could when I was old enough and could find a way out. I actually kind of went back and spent some time in a couple different boroughs in New York, but sadly never Manhattan. Went back and forth a little bit with Poconos a couple times, and then ended up coming down to Philly. Moved in with my partner at the time. Ended up staying in Northeast Philly for like 12 years or something. Then you and I met in 2020. Started dating as well. So we do the band music, and we're life partners too. And then you were living in Phoenixville, and it just made sense for me to get out of Philly and for us to start our lives in Phoenixville, which I love it here. It's a very cool spot.
Yes, and there's a lot of good, like I know a lot of good musicians who come out of Phoenixville. It's just kind of like a weird spot for that. I lived in Philadelphia for 7 years, bounced all around. Northeast was where I started, but ended up bouncing all around down there. And it was cool scene. All right, cool. And then what got you, is there like a thing that kind of really got you into music when you were a kid, or is there someone in your family who played or anything like that?
When I was a little kid, my dad's dad, he was a pianist by profession from Czechoslovakia. They migrated into America. He was also a photographer. So I just remember being a little kid, I tried to pound away on the piano, but I was always singing and dancing and trying to perform. As a kid, and it didn't go away as a teenager. I started taking vocal lessons and stuff, but in the Poconos, it was mostly classical type training. Rock singing wasn't really something you could pay to get lessons for and stuff. So that's where the core of a lot of my vocal training, besides me going rogue, for the last 20 years or so. But also dabbled in piano and bass, different kind of bands. I was a chorus nerd, a show choir nerd, so I would almost say like E Club. And then, when I went back to New York, I had different rock bands and like electronic bands. And I'm a music school dropout, so I went to Temple U. Briefly for opera performance. I actually went to a couple other music colleges in Pennsylvania, and I just wanted to get out of PA at that point so bad. I just ended up going back to New York and kind of hustling there for a while.
Very cool. And Stephen, you want
to? I guess so. I mean, I just know growing up, I guess I know my mom, my sister, and my grandmother played various things like guitar, piano, and I think my grandmother played accordion. I remember that pretty well. And I keep hearing that my dad was in like joint bugle corps or something. I don't really know too much about that. I really want to ask him someday though. The chance, because I'm he's mentioned it a few times. I never really asked him. But other than that, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. I just got exposed to it in grade school. When I reached high school, though, I did join band, I didn't actually have an instrument. I was just like, I have an acoustic guitar, but actually was taught trombone and actually was doing concert, marching, and jazz band through. That's like all through high school and college. I kind of stuck with guitar while just playing and going to school, but I wanted to do music, but I wasn't at the time. Very briefly went went for music school, got into Berklee College of Music, went one semester and came back in. And
that's enough of that.
And that's not anything about the difficulty of the school. That was more so a commentary on the politics I was dealing with.
Yeah.
So, I guess fast forward, it's kind of like probably a short way to describe what probably happened for both of us. Life happened and we got stuck in the corporate world. Now you at least got to do some music. I honestly kind of just wasn't really supported enough to pursue it in my own way. So I played along with stuff all the time, maybe dabbled writing stuff, but never really pursued it. Never really, I guess, I was never in a band with anybody, actually. So I guess what's interesting for me is like I was probably like not really doing anything for quite a long time. Like you were actually in bands and at least playing. I wasn't doing anything, but it was like November 2019 at this point. Like I was a fan of Green Jello growing up, and it just so happens like that the most recent album, Bill was like head of the band was like we're gonna do a fan made album. But I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but to clarify for anyone, it all went through A&R and the label president. Like everything got actually reviewed, so it wasn't just like, oh yeah, send something in. So I guess it was just for some reason I was like, you know what, let me just do it. So I just heard something. It was good, but it was stupid because it just kind of fits the vibe of of the band. I don't know. It got accepted, and I was like, wow, maybe I should just actually try to really do this now because I've not done it for so long. And I tried once, and I have a song on a label.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I mean, and it's like the final product is not as heavy, like rock heavy. Like I basically wrote like a hard rock song with like really aggressive sounding, and it's just like the album's called Garbage Band Kids, and they really shaped it that way. So it just doesn't sound the way I actually wrote it per se, but it still turned out okay. It's just like they produced a lot of like almost all the albums that kind of sound kind of crazy and disjointed and like, wow, this is like to make it sound like garbage in some ways. But like I know a lot of the songs from beforehand, and like they're all, everyone's great, everyone's like really good musicians and all, and the songs are really good. It's just it was just funny experience for me though, because I was like, well, that was interesting. Like this is what we wrote, and this is how how production happens. So I don't know. It was great. Like it was a great experience though. It was just kind of funny how like that developed, and then like to see the final product, and I was like, wow. And like some of the guest people on there, it's like it's really strangely diverse album. Man, there's just so many. There's like a lot of weird guest appearances on there. Like Weird Al shows up. Like it's kind of funny to think of that.
He was one of my number ones. Yeah, he's what really kind of got me into music initially. My sister got some Weird Al cassettes. Yeah, and we would just like laugh at every line, and that got me kind of started.
Yeah, so I mean, like that's kind of how the album wound up. It's like that's what the band has always kind of been. It's like I kind of worded on the EPK is like, hey, it's like carefree humor, have a good time kind of music,
mm-hmm.
And it's it's just like I want to do a cover of my own song so I can release it and play it live like the way I envisioned it, just because it's a little different.
Yeah,
and it's a little it's heavier and it's just a little heavier. That's all, with more of the guitar tones and everything. But I don't know. I guess essentially for me, like she met me like right in the middle of all that happening, like that, like it was coming out soon, and I was like, I've been essentially telling everyone, like, it just kind of sparked that in me again. I was like, wait, I actually just gave myself a chance and just wrote this. And I'm like, this isn't even my serious music. So, between just that and I think there's some, just again, life stuff going on, I kind of just started writing again. And then I was just really determined at that point. I'm like, I'm going to keep pushing this and developing it. And I was like, if I can at least do an EP. And it just, a lot evolved from there. Like I met Maria and all this stuff. I had a lot of life a lot of life stuff going on that fueled pretty much the whole project so far. And honestly, I was just like you said earlier, like I was doing it really kind of for myself, almost like therapy almost.
Yeah.
And I just kind of hit a point where I was like, I want to do something more with it. And then I was learning music marketing and investing time and money into that. And
we'll talk about that too.
It's slowly been developing since then, I guess.
Very cool. And how'd you hook up with Bill? Is it just like a
Oh well, I mean, essentially, I've been following Green Jello since I was like 10, 11 or something like that. And then it was like, it's not that they like stopped per se, but he kind of told me like they were still playing in LA. But then all of a sudden, like 2008, he's like, you know what, we're going to tour the country again. And I'd never seen him my whole life. And it was my first time seeing him around 2008, 2009. And I just have like a massive collection of stuff. And I was like, I messaged him and had him sign a whole bunch of stuff. And so I got to see him like 2, 3, 4 times over like a few years. And just kind of connected that way. I mean, and he's good that way. Like, if he knows like people like me have grew up with that and followed him and supported him, and he's just really welcoming to that and supportive. And so I've just kind of been in touch with him. I've been in touch with him anyway, and just following his posts and all that kind of stuff, and what he's got going on in LA if he's not touring, whatever. So I don't know. I'm already following him and like friends on Facebook. But just as things were coming around with the album, he was putting these posts like, now's the chance to do it. Like, if anyone wants to try, now's the time.
Look what,
like, it's like you can look back and say you tried or you didn't try.
Yeah.
You might make it or you might not. It's like, but you don't know. And I was like, I'm fine. I'm just me sitting there at like work, and I was like, you know what? I'll just try. And I had an idea in my head, and it was like, for real though. Like I had to work on it with him remotely, and like this is like pre-pandemic actually, but it's just like I already knew him, and it was like a little weird my first time kind of working with somebody on something. I mean, the music is just basically me. I mean, actually, the original vocals are on me too, but you don't hear that in the final. I sang in his style of voice on purpose, hoping it would land well when they listen to it for review. So that was kind of deliberate. I was like, I blew out my throat. And he's like, that's good. The more gravelly, the better. and it was like, it's good. He's like, it's good. Like, I can work with this. And he helped me actually. He was actually very helpful though, because like I was never really giving myself the chance, and he was like pushing. And he was like, in a good way, like, can you do this with the solo? Like, try to do this. And I was like, how's it going? Like, is it okay yet? He's like, yeah, I just want to push it over the top and like really have it like do really well. And like he was just actually challenging me to just like do it now, improve it now, like and actually it just kind of carried over. I was like, wow, I was like, I've never written a solo before, and I did. And so it was like, for me the experience was kind of like that. It just kind of started organically seeing his posts. I knew him. I've known him for a long time now, but that was a legit process though. It wasn't just like, I know you're on the album. It was like if you work with me, there's a better chance because I'm putting my input into the song. And so there was some of that with like some of the lyrics and helping me with solo. Like he was like, can you kind of do this sound with the solo? And I'm like, okay, and just before like maybe shaping some small details, like, oh, you know what? I think it needs more of this here. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I dumbed it down so I can add back into it. Like, yeah, so. But no, I mean, like, that experience was interesting because, like, I know him, but he was, like, pretty blunt with everyone, saying, don't be disappointed if you get shot down.
Mm-hmm.
It just means try again.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people, like, who tried two or three times and they got shot down every time. And he's just like, it's okay, just keep trying while you can. And some people really took that to heart, and they're on that album like 2, 3, 4 times because they collaborated with other people on purpose and or co-wrote songs together. So I
That's an interesting
I
idea.
just like kind of I put it all into that one track, and I had the the benefit of seeing him live, seeing what the shows are like.
Yep.
And I kind of literally just wrote to that. I kind of just channeled him and was like, what's the kind of sound that he likes to do, present live? And I tried to just kind of do that with my song, and it's just kind of crazy, but it's a little catchy. It's kind of silly, but it's got a good groove to it, and I did it in his voice on purpose so that I could kind of capture, like, well, how would he do it?
Mm-hmm.
So it was almost like I literally did write it for the band.
Easy for him, yeah. Just adopt it.
Yeah. So I think that really benefited the process for me because this was my first time working with anybody, but I was like, if I'm going to do it right, I'm like, I should probably write what he would like to hear and what might, resonate with so I know it was like him, A&R people, and the label president, like, listening to everything, and if they liked it, you made the next round, or you got shot down. And I was like, oh my God, I got on it. So it was just a really weird, surreal experience. But so, like, now, long story short, it's like, here I am doing this project, and I'm like, no one knows who I am, but I'm on this album. I'm on this album, but if honestly, if it wasn't for him and you as well, like, he started like that push on the front end. I was like, I'm gonna keep writing for me now.
Mm-hmm.
And then like when I started sharing like that song and then this project with you, you're like, no, this is good. And then other people as well that I shared some stuff with.
Look at all the good things that come out of stuff like that, and people collaborate.
Yeah, I mean,
just real quick.
I said, this is kind of doing it for myself, but it became more than that as it evolved. So with this project,
just real quick, Sean Amley, Josh Burke, Serge Bobo, Chaos Incarnate. Thank you all for joining. If you have questions, you can always drop them in the comments, and we'll get to them. Awesome. Okay, so then how does that differ from like your current songwriting process? And do you find it like one easier or more difficult?
Oh God. And in retrospect, this is probably way harder because that's almost like, if I were like, I don't know what's going on with maybe any future plans with other stuff, but on that like with another album with them or not, I'm just like, if I see anyone post about it or whatever, I'll be like, Billy, what can I try again? Or, can I try to contribute, or how is it? I don't know. I don't know anything at this point in time with any plans there. But I know with this place, so that's almost would be easier for me because I could just, I think I could probably just channel that, and I'm kind of, it's not very, very personal at all. It's more so just for the fun of it. And this project is really challenging because I'm just actually writing. I'm just writing what's coming out of me, and you too. Like, it's way more, I guess, intentional and organic, but real. And it's, I don't know. It's yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Real for me so far, it's been just very deliberate and calculated, and taking time to work things out, and honestly taking the time to develop my skills because, like, I had never done this for real before. And I'm still learning, so it's kind of strange.
Which is it one more rewarding than
a lot harder.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that? Sorry.
Do you find one more rewarding than the other?
I mean, I would have to say this project definitely is, just because, well, there's many facets to it. Like we are in control of it completely.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of value to that. So what you have going in. Like if you're going in feeling a certain way or wanting to hear something a certain way, you can keep it that way, and it's someone else's decision-making process, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit to me for sure. But just, I guess for me at least, that translates, because like if you just go in with an idea and just flesh out the idea, and even this like pleading, for example, just watching how that evolved, but it evolved pretty quickly compared to the EP. But I guess like that, like seeing the final product, just and knowing where it came from, and I've shared with Maria like the very first demo of it. I was like, it was okay, but wow, like listen to the final now. Like, so I would say just knowing how much we have invested of ourselves into it makes it more rewarding, if anything.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
we'll add to that from your perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as comparing songwriting, I mean, I'm not writing for Green Jello personally. I mean, I would say at the
She's written for other bands, though.
yeah, I mean, in my old bands, it's a different experience here, more so because in my past bands, it was usually two core songwriters for the most part still.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like the main vocalist, and I was doing all the lyrics and all the melodies. So this is much more collaborative, and things are more aligned with like a specific vision. But I'm still more like the melody maker. I mean, I have instrument background and stuff, but like so far, and I think we're going to explore that more live and moving forward too. But for the songs that we have done, like writing together, I feel like it was almost like you were stumped a little bit at first, or hit a block, or maybe it was an emotional block, even not necessarily a creative block, because the songs are such an intense emotional exploration of things. But me, I mean, I just kind of go with the flow and how I feel. I kind of like just to throw vocals down for the most part. I don't like to think about it too much. I kind of like to go what feels right with the music, lyrics. Sometimes I write them ahead of time. Sometimes I have some gibberish that turns into some kind
I
of
was just
like
gonna ask you
stream of
that.
consciousness of words. Sometimes I make it go, it could go either way, and sometimes we'll fill in the gaps. So I mean, that's kind of how it is for me, from a writing process. And I like to arrange, like I like to arrange, just because I'm not like I don't have like as much instrument experience as Steven does. I'm not gonna like write everything on guitar and stuff. If anything, that'd be on keyboards, probably be the easiest for me. But for me, I would just say the melody making and lyrics come pretty natural, and I really like to arrange things too. So and kind of pinpoint, I think, where like harmonies can go, or where we have balance of male and female vocals, and that's kind of my jam.
Yeah, that's cool. Lots of harmonies too, which I always enjoy. Sean says, "May get loud," and Chaos Incarnate, thank you for following. We'll follow you right back. Yeah. So on the song, so lyrically, are you like hearing the music and then be like, oh, this makes me feel this way, and try to get like a theme together, or do you have some other way that you go about doing that kind of stuff? I always find that kind of interesting.
I'll say for me, yes. For you, I hear the music and the lyrics come. I mean, back when I had way more time, I was just writing like a diary of chaos dumps, and then I would turn them into songs. But so now, just because we don't necessarily have the time we did when we were 20 to do that, I think it comes more from the feeling of the music, or sometimes I listen to other music even, and like just songs just come to me, that way. Or I have songs like from previous bands that never saw the light of day the way I wanted them to, and sometimes I'll find little nuggets there, and that's kind of what we're doing with a new song. Like I just took a couple of lines of lyrics, melody is totally different, and now it's going in like a totally different direction. Like it's not the same song at all, but the vibe was similar, and it was like a starting point for me.
I take even parts of songs, like old songs, I'll take whatever, just bring it back up to the front and see what comes. Angel E, I'm sorry, Ange 14EE, thanks for joining. I butcher everyone's name, just shout out, yeah. Cool. And you're talking about like building songs too. I think pleading kind of does the same thing where you hit like this kind of soaring vocal stuff at the end. Is that something like how often are you thinking of like tension and release? Because there's definitely a couple songs that I was like, oh, I feel like we do something similar where it feels like it has this one feel and then it maybe like breaks out into a waltz or something and it kind of like opens up. Um, is that something that's just kind of happening? Do you like to plan and work with that kind of stuff?
I can't plan what I'm doing.
No.
I'm just writing. I think there's a couple things that, in retrospect, I'm like really proud of because I see maybe how they flowed and developed a certain way. I would say actually the two songs we've written together probably up there for like the ones I'm most proud of. I mean, although I sometimes have regrets about the screaming on Our Time Was Taken, but I might redo it. I don't know. Who knows? Just because I'm
There's
like,
always the
I
option.
really like how cohesive the song is to me, like what I was going through and how it came out,
Mhm.
and it's like it's organic. It's legit. It's just like, and sometimes I'm like, it's kind of ruined how pretty the song is. but but
But it's not a pretty story.
yeah,
That's why I think,
Yeah.
like, if people ever complain about the screaming and stuff, like, it's not a constant in our music. When I don't scream, but when you do it, I mean, it is a wail of pain. Like, it is real.
Mhm.
Like, it's not just trying to be a screamo band or metalcore
Yeah.
or do
yeah, I
that.
can't
Like,
do
it's
that.
very
I can't do that.
real when it happens, and I don't think you should take that away from the song personally. But you know, it was
Part of the
real
art.
in that moment
Yeah.
in time.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I agree.
I
Yeah,
think,
actually, I
yeah,
was going to say that.
I think
Like,
those things are,
yeah, once you
and this thing's been
release
pretty
something, it's
organic
not
so
yours
far, though.
anymore.
right?
I just think
Uh,
most things have been pretty organic. Maybe I'm just, I guess it's possible I just noticed something going to a certain tendency.
mhm.
But the bridge on pleading though, it really wasn't like that at first because it was just there really wasn't much to it. There was like the guitar and the synth thing going on there. I think, and I had like an idea for the vocal, the repetition part, but there was like nothing else. So you layered it with the other vocal, and then I just kind of realized I could come back in with like it's almost like I almost feel like the whole song kind of builds and builds and builds and builds through the bridge, and then like I just kind of feel like the screaming part there is it's legit, and it's like the culmination of the
Climax.
entire
Yeah.
song. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean that's kind of how that felt. It wasn't there at first though, so I think we had to find it together because it was probably the weak spot of the whole song
Yeah.
very early on, and then it wound up being like
Sometimes.
honestly my favorite part, if
No.
I had to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I think it was weird. Like I had the layered harmonies, but like it needs to be more than that. I think I'm intentional with the intent, the build up, I guess, but
Mhm.
it's just a feeling though. Maybe it's because the influences that we have. I listen to Breaking Benjamin too much. I listen to EDM too much. I mean, they do tension and
Yeah.
the drop, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
every freaking
I want
time.
to
You
talk
can't
about
have it.
that
So
too. Yeah.
right, I'm just totally used to that. But then I know I did that like kind of more pronounced like lead vocal on it. But then I think I said like you need to scream now, and they
Hmm.
need to like kind of connect the male and female vocals at that point. So,
Yeah. Very cool. Let's touch on the electronic music a little bit. That's what I spent my pandemic doing. Is like, hey, can't really do anything with other people right now, but I could try to like change my tool setup and just use a computer and loops and sequences and MIDI and all that kind of stuff. And it actually reminds me, it's very kind of it's very much more straight like dance music, but the stuff I was hearing from, mixed in with your stuff reminded me so much of it. Where does that come from? Is that something like you're growing up, you heard, that you really kind of dug in the bands you were listening to?
I mean, I guess we could both probably answer this. I mean, I'll answer quickly by saying I know we just both have such a wide range of exposure to genres and styles that we just had a pretty extensive music experience growing up. I mean, I already mentioned earlier that we grew up with different things, and then I was in like concert marching and jazz band in high school, and in college I was exposed to like even more. I was actually playing bass that brief stint in Berkeley, but I was kind of the part that I had to expose myself to playing other styles, and a lot of it was kind of like jazz sort of, but also Latin rhythms and things like that. Like,
I love those.
that was all part of like that. Like, just like one semester, I was like exposed to a lot of stuff right away there, and just all the things I listened to growing up. And I think you could probably say the same. Is we're kind of everywhere, with all the different styles, and like you can look at the EPK and see what we mentioned, but there's so much not mentioned. Like, I know we don't even mention Alice in Chains, but I know we both like them.
Oh yeah.
But I think like for me, harmonies. My experience of harmonies really came from listening to the Seven Dust.
Mm-hmm.
I think for you, it's probably more for Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
But it's
obsessed.
but I like them as well. I like Breaking Benjamin as well. So there's like lots of crossover. Maybe she pulled me into more bands, and I maybe pulled her into some more bands. Mm-hmm. And she has me listening to stuff now I never would have like 5 years ago. I listen to like a lot more like honestly like pop oriented music as well. So
dark pop. Let's be clear.
Nothing.
Safe faced. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not listening to Taylor Swift. Not that there's anything wrong with that if that's what you're into.
She's fine.
Yeah.
But dark pop, like Meg Myers, like singer-songwriters that are bringing electronic elements into their music, but they're still unique. I almost feel like Meg is kind of our times Alanis, almost going in that direction, but a little bit more electronic lately. But there's definitely a dark vibe. The music, the lyrics, it's intense. You know, it has like that dark undertone.
And essentially, just kind of it made me think like a friend, Scarlett Cook.
Yeah.
Actually, we know of like she's like I mean, it's for anyone listening. The best way to describe it is like a modern day, darker goth rock Tori Amos.
Yep.
Is that accurate enough?
From first 3 albums.
Cool.
And it fills this hole in my heart that my ears really bless Tori, she can do what she wants musically, but it hasn't resonated to me the same way as the first 3, and Scarlett's is up there.
I mean, it's really like kind of all over the place. I mean, I want to give you a chance to like say more about your experience then with your stuff, because I wasn't so much in like the industrial. Yeah, but you are. I mean, I've liked stuff growing up, but it was never my scene. Mm-hmm. But I was always like, I like stuff like Mortal Kombat growing up, and I hear the soundtrack, and I'm like, oh man, I like this. Yeah, just stuff like that. It was never really much more than that, other than like, I like Nine Inch Nails, Stanley Mossberg, Rammstein. I can get into like some names, but I never pushed into that realm much. But I mean, you could speak to it though. You have way more experience with the different bands and what you grew up with though, in the scene.
Yeah, I mean, grew up on 80s music, so that was synth-based, right? For the most part, but then you get kind of angsty and teen. I became a metalhead, and I was kind of anti-electronic for a while. I was like, oh, no techno or whatever, for whatever reason. And then I want to blame it on Nine Inch Nails, maybe, because, Pretty Hate Machine incorporating electronics. So I was like, oh, it can be cool. I just kind of feel like it wasn't real musicians. My perspective has changed 1,000% at this point. Yeah. But back then I was like, that's not real music or whatever. That was eye-opening, and then I think like the new metal, obviously, like Linkin Park incorporated electronics,
I forgot about that.
Evanescence to some degree, and then I got into Marilyn Manson, and that kind of got into the whole like goth industrial scene. That industrial music was massively electronic and like EBM, and it's really like immersed in that for a long time. And then it just kind of all melded together. Like to me, I love new music now, and I'm trying to keep us on that path. I love crossing genre bending music that kind of confuses people, that kind of takes the elements of everything that's awesome and kind of creates something new. And I love that so many bands these days, including us, are doing that and kind of don't fit in a box and are taking kind of pieces of everything and making it work. And of course influences like Standing Westward, of course, have the electronic elements.
I mean, just the band
guitar.
Just the bands
electronics and Tool too with Danny Carey.
Yeah. So it's like even the bands I mentioned on the EPK alone, or like on our bio, you're getting like even vocal wise, you're like, and it's stuff that I realize I incorporate. It's like you're getting regular singing, you're getting a little gritty, you're getting a little bit of whispering, you're getting a little bit of screaming. So it's like just vocally we're doing that plus harmonizing, and then just instruments. It's like for me, tapping into all of it, I'm like, this guitar tuned. Maybe sometimes I'm playing in 5/4. So, I'm doing a lot of
that too.
Like, there's like a lot of like tribal sounds or something like that, or a tasteful piano or like a bell ringing sound, and a little bit more synth on pleading, just a little bit more. and like the bell sound is in there as well. And I'm trying to like push. We're kind of heading more like the new song we're working on is a little more of that, but it's like a weird hybrid of all that. I'm not going to go full on electronic, but I found myself listening to Seven West Wizard Poster Burn Appeal today, and I'm like, we're kind of in that realm. I think
I think so.
You're getting a rock band with electronic sound, but those guys are phenomenal. So those guys have a lot more experience, and that just reminded me of like Discotheque as well as the Andy Kubachevsky's band. He used to be in Savage Western, and he's doing that now, and they're like synth pop and like
very chill.
dark synth pop, and
kind of like Delirium. I don't know if have you heard of Delirium?
Nielsen.
No, I have not.
Lee Spolver from Frontline Assembly is part of it. Yeah, I mean, their biggest millions of streams was probably Sarah McLachlan and Tiesto did a Silence remix that like blew up. But I mean, their regular music is not like pounding beats like that. It's just very chill. It's ethereal. Always different female. It's always female vocals, pretty much, from what I remember.
Interesting.
New album's excellent. Actually, they just put out something a couple months ago. It's kind of along the lines of Karma, which is a billion years old at this point. Very chill, but like they're industrial dudes, and then they did that. They do Delirium too. So yeah.
Let's send some links because I would love to get into that more, and we'll share some. And
sure.
I've actually was thinking about that before too. I would love to get some of those very electronic things. I would love to get vocals on, so maybe we can work on something like that too. All right, believe it or not, like we've already gone through an hour, and I feel like we barely scratched the surface here.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so we'll have to do this again sometime if you're up for it.
Sure.
But why don't you just plug, whatever your single again, and whatever else you want to kind of get out there, and we can wrap it up there.
I guess I can recap it to I guess what I mentioned at the beginning. So first of all, everybody can find us on happilyevernow.com or linktree/unhappilyevernow. Quickest, easiest way to get to us, and all the socials are on the Linktree anyway, where you can find them on the website. So there's that. And then from there, like I said, Pleading the Haunting of Scars did just come out on May 5th. It's up and active. We're pushing it. It's only been a few weeks here, so it's we're trying to get as much traffic to it as possible. But in the meantime, and the video that goes with it, everyone check that out. And then in the meantime, the 2 remixes coming up, the Rapid Junk remix, July 7th, the Walter Flax's Stab Walt, Seven Westward rendition on September 8th. So mark your calendar now for those. And we believe we're good to go with the July 14th show Dingbats. The information's not locked in and up yet.
But I like that
there will be video components coming to the remixes.
What?
I like that you broke some news, so thank you.
Oh yeah, and then I forgot to mention there will be video components to the remixes as well that Joel's also going to help us with. And other than that, all I can really think of at the moment is there's going to be a lot more news and information coming. And other than that, in about an hour, I know we're supposed to be on.
Yes,
our songs actually being included on Harley Rock's Lucky 13 of Harley Rock's on Rock Rage Radio tonight. So we're grateful to see things getting picked up a little bit more and having more interviews or live streams with people and shows and with other bands. So it's been busy, but I don't know if I missed anything, but that's what's going on right now. If you want to.
All right, thank you. Thank you, God. I mean, after that, I'm exploring a little more heavily, trying to find us some more gigs.
Yes.
Yeah, we should talk about
that. We have some new songs in the works that are kind of a work in progress already. So we're going to try to see how far we can get those if the end of the year is possible, maybe.
Yeah, we definitely want to try to collaborate with other artists more and have more shows with other artists either we know or we can. It's finding people and getting to know them better is working well as well. Just the one show we played so far, we liked everyone and we were able to collaborate with people or their teams in some way. So there's a lot of potential there. We just gotta find the time, I think, to make it work. And I mean, like I said, the Dingbat show, Greg from Cyborg and Muck, we performed with them on our first show as well. So that's the connection we have going, and we're going to have that second show with them. So that's great. We really appreciate that and that opportunity. And he helped jumpstart that. So that's we have that, looking forward to that in July once we see the official information posted. Don't want to jump the gun, but check calendars on Jim's website. Hopefully in a couple of weeks it'll be there officially.
All right,
That's all I
very
can think
good.
of.
Well, there,
It's been busy, so there's a lot to remember.
Yep. Stephen and Maria, Unhappily Ever Now, thank you so much for being here with me, and I appreciate it. I mean, we literally barely touched the surface because there's music marketing, all this other stuff too. So yeah, I'd love to.
We can talk about that all day.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have a thing about that, we're total marketing nerds.
Yeah.
I am a marketing, is my day job.
Oh, cool.
He took the music marketing program.
Yeah,
and we've just kicked it up. We were up till like 2, 4 in the morning last night doing band PR and stuff like that. So I mean, we are hustling, and I think we have some tips and tricks, and just from just learning in general. I mean, music's different than what I do in my day job, but I mean, it's all digital, so it's all hustle. Really, at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah, and you're definitely hustlers, and I appreciate that too. Sharing everything out there and really engaging with us and everyone else. It's very obvious. So, yeah, thank you so much for doing this with me, and we'll have to do it again soon. Next week, I think we have Matt from Shards Recording Studio, which is also great. So, yeah, stick around for that, and we will. Have a great next interview tonight. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Bye.